Mr. Derek Jackson, Principal of Reginald F. Lewis School of Business and Law. Followed by Mr. Selwyn Ray, Vice President of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Greater Chesapeake. Next up, we have Mr. Kevin Sherd, National Youth Advocate and author of Lessons of Redemption. Next up, we have Deputy Chief Academic Officer of the Baltimore City Public School System, his name, Dr. Theodore Thompson. And now it is my honor and privilege to introduce to you the convener of tonight's event, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings Blake.
Thank you, guys. Thank you all for your journey, because your journey is going to help us help other young men, or African American men of all ages. I'll say, I don't want to discriminate against for age, to change lives, change their lives, change their trajectory, and I'm very hopeful about the journey that we begin today. Thank you all for joining us for our inaugural forum for our call to action to end African American homicides. 2 weeks ago, I announced a citywide call to action focused on what more we could do to support our African American young men. It truly, truly devastates me when I think about the violence in our city, that it continues to disproportionately impact our African American men. And I know that I'm not alone in this. All across our city, there are so many organizations and private citizens who are supporting our young black men every day. Tonight is about figuring out how we can better support those individuals and organizations, how we can strengthen them with numbers, and determine what more can be done until the violence stops in our community. Since I first spoke about the call to action, the response has been remarkable. And I want to thank everyone who has answered the call. Tonight's dialogue will help to inform next steps that we will take in helping to connect resources targeting our young African American men. After tonight, we will continue to reach out to churches, to community groups, and to many others as we work to formulate a more targeted response to the violence that has been taking place on our streets. Some people have said that the work that we are doing here tonight is blaming black men or blaming the black community. I strongly, strongly disagree with those statements. It is our responsibility as leaders, as family, as community, to do something, to speak out when 189 of the 211 homicides, we have to continue to say it's unacceptable.
Right.
I refuse to ignore this crisis. And looking around here this evening, we can see that there are so many in our community, in particular, so many African American men in our community who refuse to just sit by. Again, I want to thank our distinguished panelists and attendees. I want to thank the various city agencies that have joined us. I want to particularly shout out my fire chief, Niles Ford. You can stand up, sir. I want to thank you for being here. I can tell you that he is someone who believes in answering the call himself. He told me when he came on board as fire chief that his goal was to make sure that the fire department was more reflective of what he sees in Baltimore, and that he believes that one of his jobs, beyond the fire safety, is finding a pathway, a positive positive pathway for more of our young people to find great careers in the fire department. And I want to thank you for that outreach. You're in 2 schools now? 2 schools? Tell me, Douglas, Vivian Thompson, and Thomas, and Douglas. And I'm proud about your progress, and I know that you are very dedicated to that mission, and I thank you. And I want to thank all the others. I know I have some other city agency reps here as well. I want to thank you as well. I want to thank my brother who is here, who is as I mentioned in my State of the City, Wendell inspires me with his commitment to our community and his willingness to be a mentor and to pass on the lessons that we learned from my father and our grandfathers to the next generation. And I also want to thank my husband, who was unable to be here tonight, but is so supportive of this work and inspired to be a mentor as well. And since he doesn't have a son of his own, I'm glad, so he can stop talking to me about it and get him a nice mentee, since I'm not going back down that road. So individually, we know that none of us have all the answers. But I firmly believe that by working together, we can make a real difference in our community. Again, I want to thank you all for being here, and I want to turn it over to I'm turning it over to Gus, not to the man of Gus Augustus. Come on back up, and thank you all very much.
A few months ago, Madam Mayor, we were here, and there were a series of forums being hosted by Pastor Brian. And he talked about the issues at hand. He talked about Ferguson. He talked about Staten Island and some other issues. But one of the things he talked about was discovering a way that he could partner with the city of Baltimore